Alright, winter is coming and now it is time to store your classic collector car in storage. But if you do that in the wrong way, you will end up with a very moisturous, dirty car with probably a low battery as well. And your car will probably look like some kind of barn find after as well. So if you want to know the proper way of storing your car over the winter, then keep watching this video. I'm going to show you how I'm going to store my cars over the winter and what the best way is in my opinion. So I am going to show you how to store your car in the right way. If now is a classic car, maybe a young timer like this Volvo V70R, or a brand new collector car like this Toyota 70 series, which is brand spanking new as well. So every type of car has a bit of a different approach to it, and mostly it is the same, but some cars you have to go a little bit deeper. So that's what we're going to cover today. And then we have your interior. Make sure it is clean, vacuum clean everything, but very important as well, take everything out that should not be in there. So trust me, you don't want your interior to smell like some old gym socks in April. So we are going to use the Geresto leather conditioner and make sure these leather seats are nice and conditioned. So we're going to use this and not put too much on the leather, just a little bit, and just scrub it in, and that's more than enough. And then we have starting the engine, which is also a bit of a discussion point for some people, since many people say start the car every few weeks, maybe every month, to get everything circulated. And there's maybe a point of truth in that, but I actually don't do that. I just leave the car over winter and start it when it is ready and go for a drive, because when I leave it here running for a bit, it will never get warm as it should be. So then you get even more condense in the system, therefore I won't do that. And one other fact, and that's something that's just a fact. So one cold start will give the engine just the same wear of 1,000 kilometer driving at normal temperature. So if you start your car over winter 5 times, that's the same as driving 5,000 kilometer at normal temperature. And maybe it is, maybe not 1,000, maybe it's 900, maybe it's 1,200. I don't know exactly, so for every engine different, but that's just the truth. And therefore I just won't start my engine. Just start it when you're ready to drive, when the April comes, the sun is shining and you go for a proper drive. And the engine and the car can be really used for a longer time and not just for a little warm up, a few minutes and then put back in storage. And again, that is different for every engine. Basically, this Mercedes has a very old school injection system, and known when they stand still for a long time they break. So for such a car it could be beneficial to sometimes start it. That's for every car different, you really have to look into that. But overall, especially with this car, I just won't start it. Also with my newer Porsche, I also won't do that. So really do some research about your car, what's most beneficial for your system and how your car works. For every car, basically a little bit different. And then we have the fuel, since these older cars have metal fuel tanks and they can rust inside. So therefore it is very important, fill up the fuel and put some stabilizer in it, so that can't happen. If you have a modern car like this Volvo, it most likely has a plastic fuel tank, so it won't really happen. But you can still do it, fill up your tank and put some stabilizer in it, and then you are completely safe. And always leave your handbrake off, since the brake pads can really eat in your disc and will stick to it. And then I always open my window, since then the air can travel through my car and it will not get stinky and moisturous inside and smelly as well. So always leave some air to come in and go out, and leave your windows open. So that's something very easy to do, and what I always do to make sure it's not smelly if you forgot that smelly sock to take out. And then we have the next step, and that are the tires. You can get some flat spots on your tire, and then when you drive, it looks like you're driving over a bump. You have a flat spot on your tire and you will really notice that while driving. I actually had it last week with a newer BMW 8 Series. Some people say with these newer tires with this metal rods in it, it will not happen that quickly, but I actually notice that quite often, and it still happens also with newer tires. So you can do actually 2 things, or maybe 3 things. You can put it jack stands and put it higher in the air, or you take some kind of special cushions for underneath your wheels. They're actually quite expensive and struggle to get on and off, or you just, what I now do, put some more air pressure in them to make sure it will not happen that quickly that they're going to get some flat spots. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna put more pressure into it, maybe half a bar, maybe 1 bar, I don't know, a bit more than normal. And then we have chrome. So my Beetle has some chrome bumpers, as you can see here, and I put some ceramic coating on them and also some wax from the inside the bumper, some protection wax, and that makes sure my bumpers stay really nice and will not get any rust spots on it. Because what I just did now, if you have some fingerprints on it, your bumpers are most likely to go rust faster. So make sure you don't have any fingerprints on your chrome. Clean them off, wax them, put some ceramic coating on whatever, make sure they are protected, and then you make sure they won't get any rust. And then we have the batteries. We have here my GT3, and these newer collector cars will run empty on battery very quickly. My Beetle, actually, you can leave for half a year and it's not empty at all. And these cars, if you leave it for like 2 weeks, the battery is dead. So with these newer collector cars, you always have to put them on some trickle charger, some tender, and just put them in and leave it. This is actually a seat deck, what I have here, and this one, it is not constantly charging your battery. It's just checking up your battery, and when it notices it's getting a little bit empty, it is going to charge it again. And also make sure your battery stay active, since the water can go drip down. When you actually take the complete battery off, it will not go empty also, but then it stands still. With this charger, it stays a bit active, and that's always better to get a healthy battery. So I'm gonna put this on my battery and leave it over the winter. I actually always used these clamps, but some cars I also have these things. So these clamps you just put here on your charger, but that's always a bit work. So better is putting some things on your battery, then you just leave them on, and then you have this point, you plug it in and you're ready to go. And therefore I do not have to put these clamps always back on. So now I just plug it in and I don't have to use these anymore. It saves me a lot of time. So that's always to recommend to build in your battery to make your life easier. And the most important thing, if you do not want a lot of rust holes in your car, as this Mercedes 123 has, is the environment you store your car, because that is the most important bit of the whole story we are telling you today, and it's making most of these things maybe a little bit irrelevant. So if you have a very big environment, it's getting a bit difficult to control the whole environment. We have here constant heating. We have floor heating in the floor. So when it is warm, you don't have really moisturous air that will attack your car. So the place where you store your car is so important. You can put some condensators in your carriage or storage room that will constantly get the moisture out of the air and will make more dry air that will not attack your car. And also some circulation of air is very good as well. But if you have a garage, you can leave your window open, but then you get also very cold moisturous air inside your carriage, so that I won't recommend. But you should have some circulation. That's very good for your car as well. So you have these little concons air tents. You can put your car inside. You have a very small area that's actually very easy to regulate the air inside that tent. So this tent is actually something I would really recommend. They are not usually expensive. I will put some in the link down below. I'm not sponsored by them or whatsoever, but as something I would recommend if you have a very bad environment that is very cold and moisturous. Such a tent could be very beneficial, even when you do have some place like I do where it's always 15-16 degrees with floor heating, I would still maybe recommend putting your car in such concon. I am looking for one actually now as well. I think that's the best you can do, or you spend a lot of money and you're gonna get your whole area controlled by such system, but that you're gonna spend a lot of money to that. If you have such a tent, you have a very small area, you only have to control the area inside the tent. I think the area where your car is stored is the most important bit of the whole story we're telling today. So make sure your car is very warm and has some dry air. And then we have the car cover. Since the car cover really makes sure your car doesn't get any dusty. My Beta, for example, collected quite some dust over a few months, and then you see it really etching into the paint. So I have to now clay bar the car again. If you don't want that to happen, then put a cover over your car, and then it will make sure it will not collect any dust. So this is how you store your collector car in a proper way, and I hope you have something on this information. If you have something to add, and if you have something you want to add to this list, please let us know. Please leave it in the comments. I'm really curious about your opinion about how you do it with your car. So thank you for watching, and please subscribe and like our channel, and hope to see you next week for a new video. Goodbye.